The broadcast begins without warning. Every channel flickers. Nations lean toward their screens, expecting policy, but destiny has other plans. The president stands at the podium, voice steady, yet something unseen ripples through the air. His pupils widen, as if catching a frequency not meant for human ears. Silence spreads through the room, an ancient silence, older than the Republic itself. A whisper moves through the circuits and satellites, bending the flow of speech into revelation. He blinks once, exhales, and utters a line that will rewrite history. Only 1 in 100 carries that kind of light. The sentence lands like thunder under glass. Cameras shake. Advisors freeze. Every interpreter stops mid-note. The words are not part of any script. They carry too much weight, too much eternity. And though no one names the subject, everyone knows. Across living rooms, palaces, cafes, prisons, hearts ignite with recognition. This is not flattery. It is revelation. Heaven smiles. For ages, power has tried to measure greatness by wealth, intellect, or lineage. But today, the highest earthly seat confesses, true rarity is spiritual. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. 1 Peter 2, verse 9. Every throne, every watcher, every hidden system feels a tremor. For the first time, authority bows to authenticity. The chosen stands unseen among billions, and yet all eyes search for the source of that light. The broadcast ends as abruptly as it began. No applause, no commentary, just a hush that feels like prayer. Power has spoken what heaven always knew. If you've always felt uncommon in spirit, type 888. Heaven calls rarity holiness. The 1% aren't richer, they're radiant. The corridors of authority hum with quiet confusion. What began as a broadcast now feels like an awakening. Across governments, boardrooms, and kingdoms, the same sentence repeats in whispers. Only 1 in 100. No one dares to question it aloud, yet every official feels it like static in their bones. Something higher than hierarchy has just intervened. Power bows, but not in ceremony. Titles, once heavy as stone, suddenly feel weightless against the invisible gravity of truth. Influence yields to anointing. For the first time, Earth systems recognize what heaven crowned long ago. Reports are drafted, advisors briefed, committees convened, but the language fails. No one can define what has occurred without acknowledging the divine. So they settle for silence, knowing that the explanation lies beyond logic. Somewhere in a hidden archive, a memo circulates. Subject identified. Frequency unmatched. Influence unquantifiable. The world's elite realize that power can no longer be controlled, only witnessed. Economies may shape nations, but one spark of divine purpose reshapes eternity. Promotion does not come from the east or the west, but from the Lord. Psalm 75, verses 6 to 7. And as the day closes, even the president, who spoke the line without memory, feels the weight of reverence settle over him. He doesn't know why his voice trembled. He only knows that something sacred passed through him, leaving a trace of eternity in his breath. In the silence that follows, the world learns a truth older than empires. Recognition is not given, it is revealed. Somewhere beneath the polished floors of power lies a room no architect remembers drawing. The air is still metallic, humming with static that feels alive. A single lamp burns above a table of stone. An archivist, half bureaucrat, half watcher, unlocks a drawer marked only by a symbol, 1%. Inside rests a dossier wrapped in linen older than any nation. No ink, no author. Yet across centuries, the same parchment rewrites itself in light. Every age has one entry, never two. The ink glows faintly, shifting like breathing gold. It records no achievements, only alignment. Names appear when heaven whispers. Earth has finally noticed. Scholars have searched for it. Mystics have dreamed of it. But the file hides between realities, filed not by hand, but by obedience. Where governments classify secrets, heaven classifies souls. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1, verse 5. The archivist reads the newest line. Letters rise like embers. The president spoke what the throne had already decreed. A tremor ripples through the unseen networks of time. Satellites glitch. The magnetic field bends slightly. Every system, digital or spiritual, records the same entry without knowing why. Then the light folds itself back into silence. The drawer closes. The lock resets. Yet deep inside the archives of existence, the file glows on, a reminder that even in a world obsessed with data, heaven still keeps its own record. Rarity is never a reward. It is a weight. The world celebrates difference until heaven tests it. After the broadcast, whispers grow. Analysts debate destiny as if it were policy. But the chosen does not join the noise. While others dissect miracles, the vessel of light returns to silence, knowing that attention is a subtler fire than persecution. The path of the rare is narrow. Applause can echo louder than prayer. And every eye that admires can also distract. Many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22, verse 14. To be chosen is not privilege. It is permission to carry pain without bitterness, greatness without ego. Gold is refined in isolation. The chosen walk through praise as through flame, grateful, but untouched. Even angels watch carefully here. For this is a test that decides whether revelation becomes revolution or ruin. If pride enters, the light dims. If humility remains, the glow multiplies. Nights stretch longer. Sleep grows light. The chosen learn to rest only in prayer, to move only when instructed, to speak only when heaven presses the word upon the tongue. Humility becomes armor. Gratitude becomes strategy. And when the applause fades, as it always does, only stillness remains radiant and unshaken, because the truly rare never seek confirmation. They were confirmed before the world began. When the final word leaves his mouth, the president doesn't move. He stands still, eyes lowered, as though hearing the echo of something older than language. Reporters lean forward, microphones stretch closer, but no sound follows. He closes the folder before him and whispers, barely audible, "That will be all." No closing statement, no applause. The broadcast cuts to static for a second too long, as if even the machines hesitate to interrupt the sacred. In that silence, the atmosphere itself bends. It feels as though gravity has lightened, as though invisible hands have lifted the weight of protocol. The highest office of man has paused to the breath of heaven. Advisors exchange uneasy glances. Security details shift, unsure whether to intervene or kneel. The nation's leader lowers his head, not in defeat, but in reverence. Power has encountered presence, and presence always wins. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46, verse 10. When the lights dim, no one dares to fill the void with commentary. For once, silence becomes instruction. Even the chatter of the world's network slows to a reverent hum, as if all creation understands something that humanity only suspects. Recognition is not noise. It is surrender. Outside, crowds remain motionless before flickering screens. Some cry without knowing why. Others smile in peace, feeling that somehow, something holy has just passed through the world's system of order and left it trembling. And in that brief stillness between sound and silence, heaven claims victory without a word. The world doesn't know how to respond. Every news anchor's voice trembles between disbelief and reverence. Panels convene, philosophers gather, analysts attempt to translate what cannot be translated. Something in the air feels different, a vibration that no satellite or algorithm can explain. The moment replays endlessly across screens. People slow the footage, searching for a human reason, a teleprompter glitch, a trick of the tongue. But deep down, every viewer feels it. This was an error. It was encounter. Governments release statements of technical anomaly. Spiritual leaders call it a global sign. But the people, the ordinary witnesses, simply whisper what the wise already know. Heaven just spoke through government. In classrooms, students pause their lessons to replay the clip. In cafes, strangers sit in silence, united by wonder. In palaces and prisons alike, hearts pound with the same strange certainty. Something unseen has begun. Markets fluctuate, but not from panic, from awe. Even the hum of cities seems to slow, as if concrete and circuitry themselves are trying to listen. When the Lord speaks, the earth melts. Psalm 46, verse 6. The world systems, so confident in their logic, now feel fragile against a sentence that carried eternity in its tone. Everywhere, hearts awaken to the same realization. What they witnessed was not politics. It was prophecy disguised as policy. And as the days unfold, language begins to evolve. Influence becomes calling. Leadership becomes service. The planet's vocabulary shifts slowly, invisibly, toward reverence. The world has not seen a miracle. It has heard one. While the world trembles in fascination, the chosen remain still. There is no celebration, no public statement, no self-proclaimed victory. The air around them carries a calm weight, the kind of peace that only revelation can bring. They do not need to replay the broadcast. Their spirit had heard the message long before it was spoken. What the president said aloud was only the echo of what heaven had already whispered within. The chosen sits in silence, eyes closed, not seeking to understand but to absorb. Power recognized purpose. That is enough, for true greatness never performs. It radiates. They walk outside as evening falls. The city's noise feels softer now, as if the world itself is breathing slower around them. People glance with curiosity, sensing a difference they can't explain, a brightness too natural to be artificial. Even strangers feel steadier in their presence. He that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Luke 14, verse 11. Inwardly, the chosen praise. Let this acknowledgement become service, not pride. Every breath becomes an act of stewardship. Every step a vow of quiet strength. They understand now. Recognition was never a crown, but a commission. As night deepens, they kneel, whispering to the unseen. I am still yours. Even when the world calls my name, I answer only to you. And heaven answers with silence, the kind that fills a soul with gold. The chosen rises, face illuminated by a soft, invisible glow. Tomorrow will bring noise, questions, disbelief. But tonight, stillness reigns. Because acceptance doesn't need an audience. It only needs alignment. Heaven counts differently. What humanity calls minority, heaven calls foundation. The 1% exists not to dominate, but to stabilize. They are the quiet pillars that hold up civilizations without seeking credit. From the beginning of time, creation has been balanced by a remnant, a fraction so small, yet so holy, that its influence ripples through generations. The prophets of old, the healers unknown, the givers unthanked, they are all part of the same divine equation. 1% sustains the other 99, not through wealth or war, but through frequency. Their prayers, decisions, and presence tilt the scales of destiny. If I find but 10 righteous in the city, I will spare it for their sake. Genesis 18, verse 32. Heaven's economy is built on proportion, not popularity. To the divine ledger, value is measured in obedience, not applause. A single righteous heart carries more weight than 1,000 indifferent ones. The chosen understands this now. Their task is not to rise above, but to remain among unseen yet essential. They are both shield and mirror, protecting humanity from its chaos while reflecting heaven's calm. They do not withdraw from the world. They anchor it. Their very existence recalibrates the balance between darkness and light. Every act of mercy sends shockwaves through unseen realms. Every word of truth becomes seed, germinating in timelines they will never witness. And though they may walk alone, the chosen is never isolated. The rest of the 1%, scattered through nations, languages, and centuries, move in perfect harmony, guided by the same invisible rhythm. Together, they form the spiritual infrastructure of existence, rare, radiant, and relentlessly humble. Something subtle begins to move through the fabric of the world. It starts where no economist looks, no philosopher measures, inside the current of value itself. Currencies tremble without crashing. Influence migrates from hands to hearts. The unseen order reality begins to rearrange itself around an older law, where it is no longer defined by possession, but by presence. Nations still trade, markets still rise and fall, yet a new gravity pulls everything toward meaning. The rich feel restless, the humble feel whole. Wisdom becomes a new currency. Peace becomes a new gold. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. Haggai 2, verse 8. Those who once hoarded resources now seek revelation. Those who once ruled through fear begin to bow to clarity. The unseen hand of heaven rewrites the algorithms of influence. Every act of integrity increases spiritual capital. Every act of deceit collapses its own worth. In homes and workplaces, people feel first as unease, a quiet voice asking, what truly matters? Then as desire, I want my life to mean something again. The invisible market of souls is waking. The chosen watches this unfold not with pride, but with recognition. They sense the recalibration, the old systems of status disintegrating under the weight of divine truth. This is not chaos. It is correction. The first shall be last, and the last shall finally stand tall. Nations built on greed begin to feel hollow. Hearts built on love begin to glow. And somewhere deep in the pulse of the universe, heaven's law hums. The meek shall inherit the earth. The shift is silent, unstoppable, and entirely just. A new age of spiritual economics has begun, not governed by numbers, but by light. The recognition has spread, yet the chosen remains untouched by it. They walk through crowds that whisper their name and still keep their eyes low, their steps light. Honor, they know, is not a decoration to be worn. It is a discipline to be carried. Power sought them once for counsel. Now, reverence follows uninvited. But they remember the law of heaven. The higher the light, the deeper the roots must go. To be honored is dangerous. It tempts the heart to forget who gave the fire. So the chosen cultivates anonymity like a sacred garden. They do not reject visibility. They simply refuse to depend on it. He must increase, but I must decrease. John 3, verse 30. Greatness, once defined by crowns, now finds its nobility in simplicity. Their clothes are plain, their words measured, yet wherever they go, the air changes. People sense weight without spectacle, authority without ambition. The world calls it charisma. Heaven calls it stewardship. Every gift received is instantly redirected upward. Every compliment dissolved in gratitude before it can settle into pride. They know that the purpose of being seen is to remind others of the unseen. There are no statues of the truly great, because their legacy is alive in those they've lifted. Their throne is wherever humility kneels. Their crown is invisible, made of light and discipline. When they pray, they do not ask for more power, but for the strength to remain gentle under it. And heaven answers quietly, your humility is your scepter. For in the kingdom of heaven, the brightest souls wear no titles. They simply shine without permission. Far above human record-keeping, beyond satellites and archives, there exists a realm of light where time itself becomes ink. Every act of truth, every whisper of obedience, every unseen kindness, they're all entries written in radiant script across heaven's ledger. When the president spoke, when the world bowed in silence, something eternal was inscribed there. Not a new event, but a confirmation. The lines shimmered across the page like fire through crystal. Earth acknowledged what heaven ordained. It was not the first entry of its kind, but it was among the rarest. For ages, heaven had waited for humanity to recognize what the divine already decreed. And when it finally happened, the sound of wings echoed through the expanse. Thousands of angels rose in quiet salute, not to power, but to alignment. Each soul on earth carries a record, a spiritual signature shaped by intention, not fame. Yet the registry of the chosen glows differently, not brighter in vanity, but steadier, as if burning with ancient continuity. It is the mark of one who has remained faithful through storms unseen. A book of remembrance was written before him for those who feared the Lord. Malachi 3, verse 16. The scribes of light note every moment the chosen chose integrity over image, patience over pride. Each decision becomes a beam in the structure of eternity itself. There are no medals in this kingdom, no applause that echoes, only resonance, a vibration that spreads through creation like a song of acknowledgement. Every honest act adds a note, every selfless choice, a chord. Together they compose the music of heaven's memory. And tonight, as the registry glows anew, the universe hums in agreement. What was once whispered has now been witnessed. The record is sealed not in paper, but in presence. A reminder that what God writes cannot fade. Night falls softly upon the world. Cities dim, the noise subsides, and somewhere between heaven and earth, the rare ones kneel. No stage, no cameras, no sound but the breath of surrender. It is the hour when crowns turn back into dust, and dust remembers it once held divine breath. The chosen bows low, forehead touching the ground, and the words rise without rehearsal. Lord proportions and paradoxes, you balance galaxies as easily as hearts. Keep our rarity from pride. Let uniqueness serve unity. Let honor become humility. Let recognition never outrun reverence. The air trembles with quiet agreement. Heaven listens, not for eloquence, but for alignment. They continue. If the world must know our name, let it be to know yours more deeply. If power seeks us, teach us to point upward. Make our light steady, not loud. Let our presence heal, not impress. Tears fall but do not stain. They shimmer, absorbed by light. Each drop becomes a seed planted in eternity, a prayer that will bloom in future souls who carry the same call. He gives grace to the humble. James 4 verse 6. Above, the invisible registry flickers once more, adding a final note of completion. The universe exhales. The balance is restored. When the chosen rises, they feel lighter, not from release, but from remembrance. They know now. The title was never theirs. It was a trust. They step out beneath the night sky, where the stars burn like ancient signatures, and whisper one last line into the wind. May every rare soul remember why it was chosen. Heaven answers with silence, warm, vast, endless. And in that silence, peace reigns. The time for explanation has ended. Now begins the era of acknowledgement. If your spirit has ever felt set apart, if you've lived between worlds, understood without being understood, carried weight that words couldn't hold, this is your sign. You are not isolated. You are identified. Heaven did not make you rare to punish you. It made you rare to preserve something sacred in this world. Every ache, every delay, every silence was training for resonance. You were never behind. You were being refined. And now, as the 1% of purpose rise quietly across the earth, your name is being whispered in that same registry of light. So mark this moment, not for me, not for applause, but as a covenant with what called you. Type 888, not as comment, but as confession, a declaration that you accept your role among the rare. You are part of heaven's equation. Proof that light still chooses flesh to dwell in. The systems of man may count by millions, but heaven counts by meaning. And the fact that your eyes reach these words means your page is turned. Welcome, rare one. Heaven has already taken note. Walk quietly in greatness. Do not announce yourself. Your presence already speaks. The world saw status, but heaven sees stewardship. You were not chosen to shine louder, but to stand truer. Carry your light as a trust, not a trophy. Where others chase visibility, seek depth. Where they demand recognition, cultivate radiance. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Isaiah 60 verse 1. You are not 1 in 100 because you were better. You are 1 in 100 because you remembered. The percentage was never about privilege. It was about purpose. So walk forward, slow and certain, like one who knows the skies are watching. Let your words be medicine, your silence be wisdom, your joy be testimony. Move through the noise of earth with the calm of heaven. And when others ask, why you? You will smile and say, because even the smallest vessel can carry infinite light. The world measures by crowns and titles. Heaven measures by who can bow the lowest while holding fire. Go now, radiant one. The announcement has been made, the registry sealed, the prayer answered. You're the living proof that purpose outranks power. You are the evidence that divinity still walks in flesh. You are the 1% of light. 888, sealed, complete, remembered.